Returning home to the Performance Center, WWE NXT looked very different in their Fallout episode following Stand and Deliver 2023. Carmelo Hayes dethroned Braun Breaker as NXT champion, and Indy Hartwell climbed the ladder to claim the NXT Women's Championship and end the reign of Roxanne Perez. Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo could not beat Gallus over the weekend and looked to regain momentum by fighting Pretty Deadly last night. Wes Lee retained his NXT North American Championship by overcoming a great foursome of challengers on Saturday. One of that quartet, Dragon Lee, would compete in the Performance Center for the first time against Nathan Frazier. Dijak was not allowed to compete at Stand and Deliver after he was eliminated by Odyssey Jones last week in the Battle Royal. Hard Justice promised to make the future favorite pay. Saturday was an important day for NXT, but the brand needs to keep moving forward, starting last night. Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness. I am your host, Anthony Florio, sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher. I am joined, as always, by the phenom Michael Bullock, and you know how we always do it. NXT and AEW Dynamite, both newsworthy shows in their own way, and both of these shows combined were way better than that dumpster fire called Monday Night Raw this past Monday night. So let's start it off. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. We heard from the brand new NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell, and she cut a promo and interrupted by Zoe Stark. And Zoe Stark wanted a title shot. And Indy Hartwell obliged. So it set up Indy Hartwell versus Zoe Stark for the NXT Women's Championship. So later in the show. All right. Great way to start the show. Great bounce back promo from Indy Hartwell, who has been down in the dumps in terms of push in NXT. She's been spinning her wheels ever since Dexter Lumis and Persia Parada got released about a year ago. This was Indy's best promo to date because it was a serious one. The best part here was her interacting with the crowd while also showing emotion and reaction to the emotional response crowd. Props to the crowd, too. They seemed to be energetic last night. So it was a great way to start it off. So, Michael Bullock, first words from your new women's champion. How'd they sound to you?
I thought she sounded really good. I mean, I'll tell you this, Florio, and I don't know how you feel, but good for Indy Hartwell. I mean, for her to become the NXT Women's Champion. I mean, this woman's gone through so much. She's gone through so much to finally get to where she is. And I mean, I would have wanted to see Roxanne Perez win it, but if there was anyone that was more deserving of it, it's Indy Hartwell. I mean, and she learned so much from Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. And of course, we saw that she came out after Johnny Gargano's match with Grayson Waller. So, and yeah, Zoe Stark wanted the first shot, and Indy Hartwell was more than happy to oblige because she wanted to prove to everyone that she's a fighting champion. So it's going to happen tonight. What was the outcome? You're going to have to find out later. So good way to start. So yeah, nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
All right, let me set you up for the first match, Bullock. It was a tag team match, player, as it was Pretty Deadly. Kit Wilson and Elton Prince squaring off against Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Pretty Deadly wins the match, 7 minutes and 13 seconds. So, Bullock, your thoughts?
Well, it was a fine match. I'll give it about 2.5 stars. I mean, obviously, Pretty Deadly needed the win. I mean, even though part of me wanted to see Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks win this, especially after their loss in that NXT Tag Team title match. But yeah, so now the question is, what's next for Pretty Deadly now that they got this win? So could it build some momentum for them for maybe a future NXT Tag Team title shot? We'll just have to wait and see. So I give it to you, Florio.
2.5 stars is my rating for this. Solid tag team match. Pretty Deadly never missed, but the family continued to look better together. The finish was silly, but it was a creative way for Wilson and Prince to get back in the win column. It was surprising to see D'Angelo and Stacks lose, though. They are still finding their footing as a tag team. A complete feud with Pretty Deadly would do wonders, but that would mean Wilson and Prince are not going to the main roster soon, as they should. And some observations here. Wilson slapped D'Angelo in the face and got a pair of right hands for it. The family followed up with side-by-side back body drops on Pretty Deadly. And that was really the only real observation about this match. So solid 2.5 stars for the effort. So with that, we move on. Well, we do have a cutout match here. We're not going to, waste any time on this match here. It was Dijak squaring off against Odyssey Jones. Dijak wins the match, 2 minutes, 46 seconds. You can make an argument, worst fight of the night. Kind of a dud, if I'm being honest with you. So, match I didn't really have any desire to see. Typical mid-card NXT match. Competitive, but too short to be good. Future favorite lost fast, but at least he looked fluid working with a top NXT talent. But after the dominant win, Dijak warned the NXT locker room that he was back and angry. Look out. Next up, it was Dragon Lee squaring off against Nathan Frazier. Dragon Lee wins the match 10 minutes and 11 seconds. But you noticed we had a surprise guest. Oh, a surprise? Wow. We didn't even see any Monday Night on Raw. But look what we had here. We had a surprise from NXT UK. Noam Dar is in NXT. And he brought with him the Heritage Cup from NXT UK. I wish MF was here. I know MF probably knows a lot about that more than Bullock and I do. But, from what I hear, it's they have it's a tribute to British round matches, from what I know. So I know MF definitely would have gotten into this if he was here, but maybe another day. But for right now, Noam Dar, he was basically he basically sat at ringside to scout this match, and Dragon Lee wins the match 10 minutes and 11 seconds. Wow, what a match! Solid, high-octane match. While it lacked drama, it made up for it by keeping both men looking strong throughout. NXT's newest luchador showed off exactly what makes him great against one of the best cruiserweights on the roster. Frazier continues to over-deliver, even if NXT isn't ready to commit to him as a top guy. It should be interesting to watch Dragon's evolution. He is immensely talented, a step above most of the field, but he is still adapting to the WWE style. Dragon Lee promised to show what he can do in NXT in a vignette. Noam Dar arrived with the NXT UK Heritage Cup, telling both men to fight for his amusement, and maybe he'd decide one was worthy of a match with him. And Dragon Lee nearly got the win with a big powerbomb. 3.5 stars. You could certainly make an argument for fight of the night here. So not much more for me to add on to this. Michael Bullock, 10-minute match, and they did all that. What a match. Dragon Lee over Nathan Frazier, 10-11.
Yeah, when you got these two in there, you know it's going to be something good, and that's what we got here. 3.5 stars. I mean, man, oh man. I mean, I can't wait to see what more of Dragon Lee in NXT, and if it's good. I mean, we could. Who knows? Maybe he could be in line for a few, maybe a future North American title shot. But we'll wait and see on it. But yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
All right, and we move on. Next up, we had there was a lot of vignettes and all that. So, all right, the NXT Women's Championship on the line. The champion, Indy Hartwell, defending against Zoe Stark. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 32 seconds, and still the NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell. Michael Bullock, great title match here.
Yeah, not a bad first title defense for Indy Hartwell. I'll give this about maybe 3.25. I mean, yeah, I mean, Indy set out, like I said, that this was her win was not a fluke, and she proved it against someone like Zoe Stark. But all I can say is, oh boy, we got some guests coming to the dinner table. First, Tiffany Stratton comes out, but then you got the returning Cora Jade, and it looks like Cora Jade is going to be the next in line for the NXT women's title. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
3.25, 3.5 stars, sleeper fight of the night. This was the best that Indy Hartwell and Zoe Stark have looked together. The added weight of championship gold pushed them both to tighten up their offense and sell the drama. It was still not the most involved title defense. Indie Wrestling is a limited performer who will likely rely on her challengers to set the pace in her title defenses going forward. Everyone is stepping up to fight Hartwell, which is a smart way to keep her momentum. She worked 3 matches in 8 days and remains champion for the moment. It may not be a long reign, but it can be a memorable test of her skills. Hartwell took the win with a diving elbow to the back of Stark. The champion was again close after catching her opponent with a spine buster. But a couple observations to note. After the match was over, Tiffany Stratton came out to stake her claim to be the next number 1 contender. But guess who else is back? Cora Jade, the resident mean girl, is back. The generation of Jade. So business is definitely picking up in the women's division. And Bullock, I know you wouldn't have that any other way because, I mean, you've got 2 very credible challengers for Indy Hartwell down the line, Tiffany Stratton and the returning Cora Jade. So what's this? A surprise and a return? Wow. I can't believe it. We only had 1 such of those combined on Monday night. We had the surprise appearance of Noam Dar and the return of Cora Jade. So already the show is better than Monday night, no doubt. All right, so let's set up the next matchup here. More backstage stuff. Then we had Ivy Nile against Tatum Paxley. Ivy Nile wins the match, 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Not really going to get into this. Match was packed with action. Both women fought hard to maximize their minutes. It was sloppy in spots, but only because they were rushed by a 4-minute runtime. While Tatum Paxley got in her licks, this was ultimately about reestablishing Ivy Nile, who is getting better with time. She's about 6 months of training out from going on a real run in NXT. It's still a shame that Paxley and Nile broke up. The 2 have chemistry, and while Nile rises, her former tag team partner may just fall. I'll probably give it 2 stars for the effort. So, not much more to say on that. Next up, we had Wes Lee defending the North American Championship against Axiom. And Wes Lee wins the match, 10 minutes and 42 seconds. I can easily call fight of the night here. 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. Best match of the night. The 2 have chemistry to spare and drove home their knowledge of each other built over several matches. It never quite felt like Axiom could win, but he at least made it exciting. At this point, it's hard to deny who the MVP of NXT is. Wes Lee has been an incredible champion, putting on great defenses for months. He's doing more than Carmelo Hayes did as NXT North American champion. If WWE can recapture his underdog energy on Raw or SmackDown, he can be a reliable workhorse for years to come. But it might be best to just stay in NXT, given how much trust Shawn Michaels has in him against the uncertainty of the main roster at the moment. Axiom challenged Lee at the airport after both landed back in Florida. Lee put over the fight of Axiom and was glad to give him one more shot. Champion had to change direction mid-cardiac kick, hitting a double foot stomp instead to avoid the golden ratio. His second attempt at the cardiac kick was reversed into a body lock. And Axiom almost stole the win with a tight, small package. Lee responded with a super kick and corkscrew, but Axiom got his knees up. 3.5, 3.75 of a star. This was a fantastic match. Fight of the night for me. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, you got yourself a hell of a workhorse in your North American champion, Wes Lee.
Oh yeah, he's been definitely one hell of a workhorse in NXT, and yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, before all this, I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen with Wes Lee, especially after the whole drama with his former partner, and that's all I'll say on that. but man, Wes Lee has turned into one hell of a singles competitor, especially since he became the North American champion. So I hope we get a lot more of this. And yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add on to it. So 3.5, 3 3/4. I'm with you on that. So it's yours, Florio.
I've known about the potential of Wes Lee for forever. I mean, Bullock, I first saw Wes Lee when he was in Impact Wrestling as part of a faction known as the Rascals. He was known as Desmond Xavier, and he was in that faction with his former partner Nash Carter or Zachary Wentz, and of course the reigning Impact X Division champion Trey Miguel. When I saw that young man wrestle in Impact Wrestling, I said to myself, he's going to be a big star someday. And lo and behold, I was right. So, and Bullock, you're reaping the benefits, man. You're reaping the benefits. I mean, I think he's doing his personal best work. I think he's done way better here than he did when he was Desmond Xavier in Impact, although he had some moments there. But he has just been setting the bar so high, and I'm absolutely loving his body of work right now. So you got yourself a diamond in the rough. Got yourself a diamond in the rough, no doubt about that. That was 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. And all right. Next week on NXT, it was announced that Kiana James and Fallon Henley will invoke their rematch clause for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. They will challenge Alba Fire and Isla Dawn in an attempt to regain the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. Cora Jade's going to cut a promo. Ilya Dragunov is going to go one-on-one with Von Wagner. And here's the caveat. If Von Wagner loses, Mr. Stone is done with him. Mr. Stone will no longer be his manager. And we will have a trophy ceremony for Duke Hudson as part of Chase U. So, all right, main event segment. It was the brand new NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes, along with Trick Williams. You know, they cut their promo, and they were interrupted by the former NXT champion, Braun Breaker. You know, it looked like, you know, that they were respecting. You know, they had a moment of respect. You know, they shook hands, they had an embrace, and a thank you Breaker chant ensued. And well, that did not last long because Braun Breaker attacked Carmelo Hayes, and Braun Breaker has turned heel. It looks like we had a rare double turn here. Braun Breaker turning heel, and Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams turning babyface. So, whoa, Michael Bullock, Braun Breaker turning heel. He wants his title back.
Oh yeah, he definitely wants his title back, and if it means he's got to go heel, oh, he just did it, and I think this is the right move. I mean, no disrespect to his face, his run as a face, but the thing is, I mean, him as a heel, I think will definitely do more wonders for him, and especially now with Carmelo Hayes looking like a face now, and yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. A rematch, I think, is going to come down the line. The only question is when. So it's yours, Florio.
Well, the earliest possible date I could think of would probably be Memorial Day weekend, May 28th, when an NXT event is going to go head-to-head with AEW Double or Nothing. I'm still scratching my head on that one. But, you know, it is what it is. 2 events on the same night at the same time. You're making fans choose, although I already know which one I'm doing with all due respect. But anyways, segment of the night here. It's often better to end a wrestling show with a match rather than a talking segment. However, it did make sense to set the stage for what was next after Melo took the NXT championship last Saturday at Stand and Deliver. A heel turn for Braun Breaker has been a long time coming. It seemed more likely to happen at Stand and Deliver, but the creative team let that moment breathe before making the change. Given this turn, it looks like Breaker is not going to be an immediate main roster call-up, but he may show that he is a better heel than face and find greater success in a few months when he does get his opportunity. and the crowd showed their fickle nature by chanting one more time after Breakker laid out Mello despite cheering the champion just moments before. So, but nonetheless, this was the segment of the night. Very well done. So there isn't much more to say on this for me. All right. I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say here, but very good NXT. So good, it was better than that dumpster fire we saw on Monday night. There were no McMagma fingerprints on this. Absolutely not. I think this was all Shawn Michaels and the whole 9 yards. And it just goes to show you HBK can book a better show than McMagma. No doubt about that. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. This was a very good show. We had three pay-per-view quality matches. Wesley and Axiom fight of the night. We had another great match with who was that? Nathan Frazier and Dragon Lee. Those two matches were bangers. A very solid women's title match with Indy Hartwell and Zoe Stark. Throw in a solid but not overly spectacular tag team match with Pretty Deadly and Tony D and Stax. 4 good matches. You had a couple of good segments here and there. I mean, the opening segment with Indy Hartwell and Zoe Stark. That closing segment, very well done. We only had maybe at least 2 bad matches. 2, maybe 3 bad matches. But other than that, very good NXT. So better, far a million miles better than Monday Night Raw. No doubt about it. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. Michael Bullock, take a bow, my friend. That's how you put on a show. Take notes, McMagma. Take notes.
You really think McMagma's going to take notes?
No.
My thoughts exactly. I rest my case on it. I mean, you can say to him, take notes and all that, but come on, Florio. There's only one person that he'll listen to.
That would be himself, of course.
Exactly. He'll only listen.
Those voices in that warped mind of his.
Yeah, and all I can say is, Florio, get used to that, and I'm gonna go on the record of saying this, and I don't want to say it. He's gonna remain in creative control until the day he dies, plain and simple. I don't want to say it, but unfortunately, that's the way I see it. But 7.5 to 8, I'm with you on this. I mean, I can't believe NXT was much better than that dumpster fire of Monday Night Raw, but get used to it. I mean, that could be the case for quite a while. But, yeah, 3 quality matches, and, yeah, an all right match, but you had some surprises, so something that Raw definitely could not deliver. So, yeah, can they keep up the momentum? We'll have to wait and see. So, 7.5 to 8 out of 10. So now it's time to move on to AEW Dynamite.
Highly anticipated AEW Dynamite. Yes, indeed. So let's dive right on in here. Let me set the table here. Give me a moment here. Okay. Amid a common rivalry with the Outcast, AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter and top contender Riho clashed in one of 4 championship title bouts tonight on Dynamite. The match joined a high-stakes tag team title match main event between the Guns and FTR, and the latest AEW World Trios Championship defense by the House of Black on a broadcast that continued the company's steady build toward its Double or Nothing pay-per-view on Sunday night, May 28th, from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Did any titles change hands? How did those matches affect the build to the upcoming Las Vegas Spectacular? And what major announcement did Tony Khan have for the wrestling world? Find out now with this recap of AEW Dynamite. Live from the UBS Arena in Long Island, New York, the brand new home of the New York Islanders. And we started it off. It was supposed to be the match between Absolute Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson. The match never happened. And it happened for a good reason. You've heard this man's name in the dirt sheets, rumored for several weeks. There were a lot of rumors going around that this gentleman was on his way possibly to WWE. But I think after the unfortunate recent turn of events over there, I think he made the wise choice, because this individual is now all elite. And I am talking about Switchblade Jay White. Jay White is all elite, and he attacked Ricky Starks. The fight never happened. It's a throwaway. It's an NA, but who the hell cares, man? This was a hell of a way to kick off the show, with a genuine surprise and an angle that furthers the feud between Ricky Starks, Juice Robinson, and now Jay White. It was a newsworthy start to a show that promised a big announcement and delivered something as significant even before Tony Khan could appear on screen. Jay White returned to AEW television, distracting Ricky Starks and allowing Juice Robinson to attack from behind, all to a thunderous ovation from fans surprised to seize a Switchblade. And Excalibur on commentary said, the hottest free agent in professional wrestling, Jay White, has just left Ricky Starks' lane. You damn right he did. Great way to start the show. Michael Bullock, business has damn sure picked up in AEW. The hottest free agent in all of professional wrestling. We thought he was going to WWE, but I think with the recent turn of events, he said, I ain't doing that BS. I'm all elite. Jay White, the Switchblade, is all elite. Whoa.
And I think
we're going to pick up.
Oh, I definitely picked up, and I'm with you, Florio. Jay White made the right choice of going to AEW because, I mean, come on. Do you really think he was going to get over in WWE under Vince's creative control?
Hell no.
Yeah. I mean, he would get lost in the shuffle in maybe a week or two, but he made the wise choice of going to AEW, where he'll definitely get over. And yeah, we know the history of Jay White, and yeah, he's definitely going to be another big boost for the roster. And of course, a big blow to WWE. And I mean, it's a bitter taste in the mouth for WWE, and I hate to say it, Florio, there's going to be plenty more of that coming, for more big blows coming for WWE. And you really think McMahon cares all that much about that?
What do you think?
Oh, I know I already know what I'm saying, but I want to hear what you say.
With that ego so big that he needs his own damn zip code? Abso-freaking-lutely not.
Yeah, I mean, all he cares about is the money.
The dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say, so let's move right along.
Yeah, gladly move along. But even though that was a fantastic way to start. And we started with the first of 4 championship matches. The first title on the line was the AEW Trios Championship. The champions, the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, with the beautiful Julia Hart in their corner, squaring off against AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. Winners of the match in 12 minutes and 1 second, and still the AEW Trios Champions, House of Black. Michael Bullock, solid way to start off our 4 title matches here tonight.
Yeah, this was definitely a solid way to start off the titles, the title portion of the show. But yeah, 3.5 stars. That's what I'm giving this. I mean, the outcome was never in doubt, but definitely the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy definitely gave the House of Black some fits here. So yeah, kudos to both sides. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to add on to it. So it's yours, Florio.
3 1/4, teetering on 3.5. This was the weekly party tag match with tons of action and crowd-pleasing spots ahead of a solid finish that saw the right team go over. A match between Malachi Black and Orange Cassidy would be a ton of fun, but if this is all the further it goes, that's fine. The presence of La Facción Ingobernable at ringside suggests the House of Black may find themselves presented with the challenge of that particular faction, but one has to wonder how effective it would be as both trios are heels. Trent Beretta's mom, Sue, drove the challengers to the arena in her minivan, a staple of all big best friends matches. Taz on commentary said that's what Cassidy does. He rents space in people's heads with the games he plays, putting into words what the freshly squeezed character is all about and why it works. Brody King crossbody Chuck Taylor on the floor, driving him into the guardrail. Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black caught a flying Orange Cassidy and sent him face first into the ring apron. They caught Trent Beretta too and sent him into the same apron before Brody King obliterated him on the floor. Best Friends launched Orange Cassidy, who this time landed on the intended targets and wiped the champs out at ringside. La Facción Ingobernables, Rush, Preston Vance, and Peligroso appeared at ringside watching closely. And backstage, Anna JAS of the Jericho Appreciation Society watched closely, keeping an eye on Julia Hart amid an intensifying rivalry, which I can confirm Anna JAS and Julia Hart are going to have a match. They're going to fight each other this Friday night on Rampage from our neck of the woods, Kingston, Rhode Island, at the Ryan Center, URI. So URI, you're going to get to see that Friday night. So part of a big night Friday night. You got AEW Rampage and the newest Battle of the Belts special. So we'll definitely be addressing Rampage on Friday night. Battle of the Belts, I'll do that in a special Tony's Take on Monday nights. So, but anyways, 3.25, 3.5 stars. That's the correct rating for that. So with that, we move on to our second title match. AEW Women's Championship on the line. The champion, Jamie Hayter, alongside of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defending the title against challenger and the inaugural and former champion, the inaugural AEW Women's World Champion, Riho. Winner of the match, 12 minutes and 3 seconds. And still the AEW Women's Champion, Jamie Hayter. Wow. I got to give this 3.5 stars. The champion retained, overcoming the resilient and skilled challenger, but not before having to break out 2 Haterades to keep her down. The match was very strong, the latest in a string of performances by the champion, who has entered the conversation of best workers in the company. Riho was great too, even if she never really felt like a threat to Hayter because of how physically dominant the champion is and has been since she won the title back at Full Gear. Thankfully, this did not end with the Outcasts rushing the ring with the green spray paint. That was becoming a repetitive booking trope and something the women's division needed a break from. Hayter started fast, attempting a Haterade that Riho quickly countered. Back from the picture-in-picture break, and Riho immediately turned the tide in her favor with a Tiger Feint kick for 2. Crowd launched into dueling chants appreciating the work of both women. Hayter ended an exchange of right hands with a big forearm to the face that flattened her opponent. Hayter just narrowly got her foot on the bottom rope, evading defeat following a running double knee by Riho. Challenger kicked out of 1 Haterade, but a third put her down for the 3 count. And backstage, interviewed Ruby Soho, who laid down the gauntlet for a title shot at Jamie Hayter, but put off deciding who would be the challenger. So that feud is far from over, but nonetheless, very good title match. Solid 3.5. You can make an argument for 3 3/4 if you wanted to, but very good title match, to say the very least, between 2 very, very good workers. So no question about it. Michael Bullock, the champion, stays the champion. Jamie Hayter successfully defends the women's championship despite a very game effort from Riho. Riho gave her a hell of a try, like we all knew she would. But the champ stays the champ. 12 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, 3.5 stars. I mean, the outcome was never in doubt, but definitely Riho definitely gave Jamie Hayter all she can handle, and Jamie Hayter continues to get better and better as champion, and all I hope is that momentum can definitely continue for her. So so there's really nothing more for me to say on it. So it is yours, Florio.
All right. And then we had Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Jake Hager came out, and they thought that the Acclaimed were going to join the JAS, but that did not happen. Parker then announced that they would have an eight-man tag team match. Menard, Parker, Caster, and Bowens are going to team up on Friday night in Kingston. So see what happens with that. Then it was MJF Day. MJF, braggadocious here. But then again, he got the hometown pop, obviously. That's the only arena where he gets where he gets a pop of any sort, because it's Long Island and that's where he's from. So if you're wondering why he got the pop that he did, that's why. With that said, it went on too long. Yes, it was a nice showcase for the hometown hero and the crowd ate it up, but it was definitely on the lesser end of the Salt of the Earth's mic performances over the last year. The brawl with Jungle Boy was okay, though the negative response to it begs the question of whether it was worth adding it to the end of the segment in the first place. MJF elevates everything, so it's still better than most, but this segment did not hit the way the others have, so we're just going to bypass that. Move on to our next match. Sammy Guevara squaring off against Commander. Sammy Guevara wins the match, 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Michael Bullock, outcome was never in doubt, but fun little sprint between Guevara and Commander.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun little sprint with this. I mean, it was short, but in that short amount of time, I definitely enjoyed the action. So I'm going to give this 2.5 to 3 for the effort on this one. So, but yeah, Commander, I mean, I really hope that he gets added to AEW. I mean, that would be another huge addition for Tony Khan and his for Tony Khan and everyone. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. It is yours, Florio.
Yes. If logic, story, and psychology are necessities for you, odds are you did not care for the match. If you do not mind an occasional stunt fest, unapologetically full of athletic high spots, this was right down your alley. There's no denying that Guevara and Commander are capable of things between, outside, and from the top of ropes that others could not even fathom, let alone attempt. They were on full display here, culminating with Guevara using the go to hell to score the win. It was the impassioned promo from Sammy Guevara directed at MJF that stood out the most. The Spanish God promised he would never leave AEW because it has given him too much. He's not using the company to get anywhere else, and he will be damned if he sits back and watches MJF do it harm. Great promo from Guevara, somewhat hampered by a heavy MJF-biased crowd, but really hammered home the passion he has for the company and its long-term well-being. Guevara is doing some of his best work over the last month or so, and the idea of him challenging for the world title at Double or Nothing as 1/4 of a main event is very appealing. On commentary, Taz said, this guy's like a high wire act guy, and his penchant for daredevil high-flying feats. Commander delivered a tightrope walking shooting star press for 2. Darby Allin watched from the rafters, a la his mentor Sting back in the Nitro days, the fourth pillar of AEW to appear tonight. Guevara cut Commander with a cutter and finished him with a GTH. Tony Schiavone joined Guevara in the ring for a promo. Look, Tony, I just did something the world champion doesn't. Wrestle. And he also said, Max, you didn't beat me. Sean Spears in a steel chair beat me. And he said, you sold your soul to be a pillar here. I love AEW. I'm not using this place to go anywhere else. Whether you like Sammy Guevara or you don't, you damn sure have to respect him after that promo he cut tonight. That was a great promo he cut after that match. 2.5 to 3. I'm going to give it 2.5 to 3 for that effort. Next up, we had our third title match for the FTW Championship. Hook defending against All Ego Ethan Page. Hook wins the match at 1 minute and 44 seconds. He is still the FTW champion. And it was because of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy laid out Ethan Page with a twist of fate, opening the door for Hook to retain with that submission hold of his. We could be getting the broken one back. We could be getting the delete. And if that's the case, it's going to be.
And you know what that means too? Delightful. And you know what that means as well. Another thing that he says.
Green beans for everyone. Yes.
Oh boy,
it's going to be wonderful.
Delightful. Yeah.
Get those green beans ready, baby. I know if MF were here, he'd be mortified right about now. So
He'd be like, "Oh, come on, really?"
Yep, he would have. All right. All kidding aside, we had a double announcement here. First off, the AEW broadcast team has a brand new member, Nigel McGuinness. Yeah, Nigel McGuinness is now on the AEW broadcast team. And he set up and he introduced Tony Khan. And Tony Khan made the announcement. Now, the last time Tony Khan made an announcement, we absolutely slammed it because it was basically the announcement was through Adam Cole that we were going to have the debut of that new behind the scenes show, All Access, that comes on every week after Dynamite, premiered a week ago. Oh no, this announcement far better and far bigger. Sunday night, August the 27th, on pay-per-view, AEW is going to present All In from London, England. Now you're thinking, okay, where in London, England? It's not the O2 Arena. It's not any other arena in London, England. Oh no, they're going big. They're going for the biggest spot of them all. Sunday night, August 27th, All In pay-per-view, Wembley Stadium, London, England. Michael Bullock, how about it?
Now, all I can say is this announcement was far and away better than the last one.
Amen.
That Tony Khan gave. I mean, when we first heard that All In was going to London, England, we were thinking whereabouts. As soon as they said Wembley Stadium, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to get real good. I mean, and we know the history of that, especially SummerSlam 1992.
Which features my all-time favorite match.
Yeah, which was one of the greatest SummerSlams of all time, including, like you just said, Florio, one of your favorites. Bret the Hitman Hart, the British Bulldog, for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, I think this was the only time that the Intercontinental Championship main evented a WWE pay-per-view event.
I'm almost certain it did. I will have to really look into the archives, but I'm almost certain this is the first and that was the first and only time that the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship was the main event. And if you ever go out of your way and watch that match, technical wrestling masterclass.
Yeah, if you're a technical wrestling fan like my good friend Anthony Florio is,
and you too, Bullet,
you need me too. You need to watch that match because that was a technical wrestling match. I mean, and I can only imagine what kind of matches could go down at All In at Wembley Stadium. I'm all excited about this, and I'm telling you, Florio, as of right now, things continue to look up for AEW. I mean, you get Jay White, you get Nigel McGuinness, and now this. I'm telling you right now, WWE and Vince McMahon they're looking like they got egg on their face big time. And this is why I say it's only going to get worse for WWE, but it's only going to get better for AEW. So nothing more to say. It is yours, Florio.
Oof. Wow, what is there to say? All right. As an announcement that a week of social media hype went into, it probably disappointed some. You know, you can't please everybody. But especially since the show will take place across the Atlantic, where a large portion of the TBS audience will not be able to attend it. However, on a grander stage, it is ambitious, if nothing else. Wembley Stadium is an enormous, historic venue, and it'll be very interesting to see the setup and layout for what AEW is attempting to accomplish. Until more details are released, it's unfair to comment much beyond that, other than to applaud the company for making enough strides and believing in itself to take on a venue of that enormity. From the sound of it, according to Adam Cole, as he made the actual announcement, there will be Warner Brothers involvement as the studio celebrates 100 years. That could help matters. But surely Tony Khan bringing in Adam Cole to make the announcement was a troll after the last one was met with such disappointment, which was the All Access. But this was not a disappointment here. I mean, All In pay-per-view, Sunday night, August the 27th, Wembley Stadium. The Cathedral of Soccer. The stadium that housed one of the greatest SummerSlams and one of my all-time favorite SummerSlams of all time, 1992, which featured, in my opinion, the greatest match in SummerSlam history. Bret the Hitman Hart and the British Bulldog for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. 5 stars and beyond. I pulled a Dave Meltzer and I gave that sucker 6 because that's how much I love the match. But 5 for the match itself and an extra star on top of it because of not only my love for the Hart family, but my love of technical wrestling. And that was a technical wrestling masterclass that you got to go out of your way to see. And I will darn sure be doing that when Bullock and I will damn sure be doing that when we relive our road to SummerSlam in a few months. But for right now, monumental announcement. I wish MF was here. I would have loved to have picked his brain about it, but you know, it is what it is. But August 27th can't come fast enough, man. It's as simple as that. I cannot wait to see what that's going to be like, how that thing's going to look. And because remember, Wembley Stadium got a makeover. I think it's got like a roof on it now, so it looks a lot. It looks a lot more different than it did 30 plus years ago. So it'll be nearly 31 years to the day, almost 31 years to the day of SummerSlam 92. It was August 29th of 92. This is August 27th. So brace yourselves, August 27th, All In from Wembley Stadium in London. My God, that is going to be awesome. I cannot wait. All right. Then we had a 6-man tag team match. John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club with Bryan Danielson in their corner. They went up against 3 Hammernager jabronis. They deliciously squashed them in 1:22. But then after the match was over, Bryan Danielson cut a promo on behalf of the BCC. He's probably going to be the mouthpiece of the group. Perfect choice for that. And I don't know about you, Bullock, but I was getting new Daniel Bryan vibes. And you know how much fun we had.
Well, the thing is, Florio, he actually used the word that looked like from the new Daniel Bryan, and one of them that I know it's one of the words you like.
Impotent.
Exactly.
And on top of that, he also used a new word tonight, amateurs. If he had thrown in a fickle, I would have marked the F out, but no.
Well, I would have marked the F out myself.
Yeah, how much? Because Bullock, you and I had so much fun with that new Daniel Bryan character. I mean, it broke our hearts. It broke our hearts at first, but then as we started getting more used to the character, then we had fun with it. You know, with fickle, shame, and the whole 9 yards. The impotent and the change it, and you got amateurs now. So, but Hangman Adam Page came out and he got the hell beat out of him. And Bryan Danielson, with the most sadistic thing I don't think we've ever seen Bryan Danielson do anything as sadistic as when he took a screwdriver and jammed it into the face of Hangman Adam Page.
That to me, Florio, was a little too much.
Agreed.
I mean, I understand you're pushing the Blackpool Combat Club as a dangerous heel team, but I think they could have what's the word I'm looking for? They could have lowered it just a little bit. I mean, you could still do some brutality, but this to me went way too far.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Squash match was meaningless, but the promo from Bryan Danielson afterwards served as the real meat of the segment. Danielson referring to the losers as amateurs, claiming the EVPs hired them, and suggesting BCC are the only real professionals in the company gives the faction much needed motivation. No longer are they just heels running around beating people up. They have purpose and are waging war against the elite, setting up a match that can conceivably headline Double or Nothing, even without the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Bryan Danielson was great here and should absolutely be the mouthpiece for the group moving forward. Dangerous, unhinged, heel American Dragon is the best. Commentating as Moxley, Yuta, and Castagnoli beat down and interjecting Hangman was icing on the cake, and the vicious use of the screwdriver was even better. Danielson said he loves his family, but he loves his Blackpool Combat Club teammates in wrestling too in a good bit. American Dragon produced the screwdriver and dug it into the face of Hangman Page before repeatedly calling him an amateur. Was really strong booking and was the launching point for an escalating battle with the elite. I think the house of AEW needs to be fixed up from all of these amateurs, Danielson exclaimed. And he also said, I love professional wrestling. Do these guys look like professionals to you? They look like a bunch of guys the EVPs might have hired, and they're nothing but a bunch of amateurs. Effing brilliant. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Main event. The big main event for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. The champions, Colton and Austin Gunn, the Guns, defending against FTR. If FTR loses, their AEW careers are over. Winners of the match in 13 minutes and 48 seconds. And new AEW World Tag Team Champions, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, FTR. They win the titles. Fight of the night here, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. There was a solid story at play here as Austin and Colton Gunn realized they could not beat their challengers by themselves, so they resorted to multiple attempts to get themselves disqualified. When the official would not bite, they were forced to fend for themselves. It did not go well as Harwood and Wheeler secured their second reign as champions with studio roll-ups. Not a particularly great match from a technical standpoint, nor was it a throwback to the old NWA style tags that have so influenced FTR, but it was a solid showcase for the Guns as the most detestable villains and a dramatic build of the fan-serving finish. FTR sticking around AEW is without a doubt the right call, given the state of WWE after Monday night. Even if they made the decision before then, one would assume it was in the best interest of them and their families. Hopefully they are more consistently utilized than they were for their first 2 years of the company, because they are immensely over and have earned the right to be major foundational pieces of AEW's immediate and long-term futures. Austin Gunn delivered a low blow, intentionally looking for a disqualification that would rob FTR of the titles and force them to leave AEW. Cash Wheeler prevented referee Paul Turner from calling for the bell. Referee Paul Turner told Dax Harwood, don't worry about him, he's not legal. It was refreshing to see a referee overseeing a tag match in this company actually acknowledge the rules. And Excalibur exclaimed as the show went off the air, they will remain part of All Elite Wrestling. So 3.5, 3 3/4, fight of the night. The outcome we all wanted. FTR finally, once again, the AEW World Tag Team Champions. So there isn't much more to say about this, Michael Bullock. As the streamers came down from the rafters, special moment, FTR, once again, AEW World Tag Team Champions. And Bullock, I think, especially after the horrific turn of events from this past Monday, just like Jay White, FTR damn sure did the right thing, and I'm glad they're staying in AEW and are also the World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I mean, this was absolutely the right call to have FTR go over, become the new tag team champions, and of course, because of that, they're going to stay in AEW. Because I'll tell you this right now, if they left AEW, I mean, all I can say is, man, I would have hoped they would have gone to some other wrestling company than WWE, because after the turn of events of this week, they deserve so much better. If they go back to WWE, if they had went back to WWE, it would be like their original run. No need to talk about it. You already know about it, so nothing more to say. A great way to close out what I thought was a really good AEW Dynamite. And as far as my rating goes, I'm going to give this about 8.5. I mean, you only had you had one bad match, which was a squash match with the Blackpool Combat Club. All the other matches were solid to good, and of course, the announcement of Tony Khan's with All In going to Wembley Stadium. This makes for a really good show, and so 8.5. It's yours, Florio.
8.5 as well. I 100% agree. There were actually two bad matches. Let's not forget Hook and Ethan Page. That was a bad match too. But
all right, I stand corrected too.
But other than that, all the other matches were solid to good to great. I 100% agree with you. Couple of good segments here and there. An announcement that was actually a great announcement, not a whimper announcement like we had previously. The announcement we got tonight, that was a bang. That was a banger announcement right there. To know that that we're getting the All In pay-per-view on August 27th at Wembley Stadium in London. That is going to be insane. I cannot wait for it. It's going to be amazing. And yep, a lot of angle advancement, and of course, the happy ending of happy endings. FTR once again, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, beyond deserving of that accolade.
And I want to bring up something too, Florio. I saw something on the Dirt Sheet Radio Facebook page. I guess I don't know if it was. I think it was Dax Harwood held a sign. I guess he took it from a fan saying Vince fears top guys.
Yeah, couldn't.
I'm like, perfect way to take a shot at Magma.
Yeah, especially after what he put us through on Monday night. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, and after weaseling his way back into creative control.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But 8.5, no question about it. Very good Dynamite. It was a loaded show. It lived up to the hype. Tony Khan's announcement lived up to the hype, and you knew they were going to come guns blazing after the events of this week in WWE. So there you have it.
Yeah, they came guns a blazing, and they embarrassed and they humiliated WWE, and I hope that continues.
Hope so too. And with that will put the bow on this edition of Wednesday Night Madness. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. As always, we'll be back with you tomorrow night, 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25 for another edition of TXN Sports World. Very light docket this week. We're going to be recapping the men's and women's national championships, the tournaments. We have champions in the men's and women's tournaments. I will turn over the mic to good old MF Michael Fletcher so we can preview the UFC pay-per-view that's going down this weekend. And then in our main event, we will preview week 8 of the XFL. And that's it for this week. And then Friday night, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will host that. Hopefully, MF will be back with us for that one. And we'll get into Friday Night SmackDown. Hopefully, that'll be better than Raw. But we're not holding our breath.
And I'll say this right now, Florio, before we close it. It's a very critical episode because if it's anything like what we saw Monday night or even worse, it's time to hit the panic button.
But if it ends up being a better show, then maybe there's still a shot for Papa H. I don't know. We'll see. But Friday Night SmackDown.
But I'm not holding my breath on that.
I know. Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and in the Mikey's Mindset, MF will recap the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor pay-per-view, and then Monday night, Ridiculously Raw, we do it all again. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for TXN Sports World, Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, our host, good old MF Michael Fletcher, and of course, always and forever, the First Lady Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Thursday, and until tomorrow night, TXN Sports World, you've been watching Wednesday Night Madness right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye. And as always, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. Goodbye, everybody.